Hello and welcome to Ukraine Today's Press Review. I'm Rahim Rahimtullah. With the EU agreeing to prolong sanctions against Russia for 6 more months over the Kremlin's military aggression in Ukraine, we'll look at how the international media is covering this latest development in the confrontation between Russia and the West. We begin with an editorial in the New York Times, which says that although the EU is divided on what to do about Russia, when it comes to the crucial moment, the 28-nation bloc has been unified. The NYT writes, "The Europeans are indeed divided over the extent to which Russia, with its huge oil and gas resources, should be isolated. But Mr. Putin's aggression so far has ensured their unity when it counts. In addition to extending existing sanctions, the Allies have prepared a new round of sanctions that could be imposed if Russian-backed separatists seized more territory in Ukraine." The West has tied sanctions to the implementation of the Minsk peace deal, saying that if Russia and its proxy militants fulfill the deal, the sanctions could be lifted. Meanwhile, the US-led military alliance NATO has been flexing its muscles in the region, suggesting that further Russian aggression could be met with a military response. The NYT writes, "If he is not careful, Mr. Putin may end up facing exactly what he has railed against, a NATO more firmly parked on Russia's borders. Not because the alliance wanted to go in that direction, but because Russian behavior left it little choice. That is neither in Russia's interest nor the West's." But in spite of the extension to sanctions, the Financial Times writes that unity among EU members is still very fragile and has needed support from Washington to be maintained. But with EU leaders now in Brussels trying to negotiate a bailout with Greece, the paper explains how Athens' debt crisis has dovetailed with the West's confrontation with Russia. It says, as Washington tries to maintain a united Western front in support of sanctions on Russia over Ukraine, a Greek default could provide Moscow an opportunity to sow new divisions among America's European allies. The paper goes on to provide more detail on how, behind the scenes, Washington has involved itself in the talks over Greece, which, if it weren't for the conflict in East Ukraine, would have likely stayed an all-European affair. But with Athens threatening to turn to Moscow for cash, the White House has stepped in. As the FT says, for some months, the administration of President Barack Obama has been quietly urging Germany and other EU members to try to find a way to resolve the standoff with Greece. While economic considerations have been at the forefront, diplomats say the EU's position on Ukraine has also been part of the conversation. So the consensus seems to be that EU unity is being maintained, but is at the same time becoming ever more fragile. Throw Greece's debt crisis into the mix and you have even more opportunity for instability and for Moscow to deepen its efforts to sow discord within the EU. That's all we have time for today. Do join us again tomorrow for another press review. In Kiev, this is Ukraine Today.